Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Ebrutv. Now, pressure to declare the current drought situation in the country as a national disaster continues, with Garissa Governor Ebrutv Jama now calling on President Dr. William Ruto to personally visit ASAL counties that have been affected by the biting drought in order to see firsthand the true situation on the ground. Garissa County, just like the neighboring counties in the northeastern region, did not receive adequate rainfall the last October-November short rain season. Kenya Red Cross says close to 400,000 people are in dire need of relief food.
Garissa County today is suffering big issues. One, not only the drought, but as you have heard, we also have IDPs, drought IDPs, pastoral dropouts from the neighboring countries of Mandera, Wajir, and even, for that matter, Marsabit.
The county's governor, Ebrutv Jama, is now calling on President William Ruto to get in touch with how critical matters are by visiting the heavily affected areas.
Maybe we make a formal request, and I'm doing so today, to our president, also accompanied by our minister, Waziri Aden, labda wafike hapa Garissa, ili wajionee hali vile ilivyo. Ndio then we get the full attention of really the world to come to the rescue of Garissa and the other ASAL counties.
Tuko na doubt, na kila mtu anasema tuko na doubt. Lakini muhimu ni what can we do for the people?
Speaking at the Garissa Farmers Training Institute during the launch of several drought response initiatives, Governor Jama, who also doubles up as the chair of the ASAL counties in the Council of Governors, said the time has come for the president to declare drought a national disaster.
Drought always comes with conflict. And we must work hard to see that. Wale watu wageni tuko nao wametoka Isiolo, wengine Marsabit, wengine Wajir, tubaishi na hawa na amani. Najua ukipata mvua watarudi kwao. But for now, they are our guests. You must take care of them.
Last 6 years, we are in a situation that is terrible.
Jama disclosed that his administration had suspended all development programs to focus on addressing drought issue. Further said the supplementary budget for emergency response purposes will be presented in the assembly next week.
Yote hakuna maji. That is a fact. At least on the outskirts. Na hiyo watu hawana pesa ya kununua maji. Kwa food distribution, please include even watu ya township.
Bwana President, tunakuomba utufikie hapa ili ujue hali yetu na pia watu globally wajue the situation of the ASAL counties of Kenya.
He said even though several interventions were currently ongoing from the national and county governments as well as from non-governmental organizations, the situation on the ground calls for more action. The National Drought Management Authority, in its January 2023 bulletin, painted a worrying picture in 23 counties that have been classified as either in the alarm or alert phase of the drought. The deteriorating drought situation has continued to severely impact the food security and livelihoods of vulnerable households. Now, angry residents in Mbeere South Embu County blocked Governor Cecily Mbarire's motorcade in a demonstration demanding a resolution to the water crisis that is affecting Mbeere region. The governor, Cecily Mbarire, pacified the situation by pledging to use solar technology to pump water from Kiambere Dam to Kiambere Hill to be distributed to the Mbeere region.
Residents of Mbeere region blocked Governor Cecily Mbarire's motorcade in Embu Kitui Highway, demanding for a solution to water shortage that has affected the vast semi-arid Mbeere region.
Jina langu naitwa Esther Kiora, mimi mkaangi wa hapa Kangondo, na Kangondo tuko na tabu nyingi sana ya maji. Sasa tunataka damu mingi sababu tutainjike.
Tunaendeanga maji kama kilomita 15 kutoka nyumbani. Tunafika nyumbani usiku imefika, tunaendea maji ingine. Maji yani kuna shida ya maji kabisa.
Tunataka tuwekelewe maji mingi, tuwekelewe ndemu mingi kama Ndovoli tukande kukaa vizuri kwa maji.
Sisi tunataka tuongezewe ndamu kwa wingi. Sisi tuko na sinda ya maji sana.
Kiambere Ward MCA Lenny Masters said Mbere has had this issue for a long time, demanding the county government impose a long-lasting solution.
Tuna matarajio makubwa kwa serikali ya Kenya kwa sababu sisi kama viongozi tumeketi na kukawa na kikao kati ya gavana wetu na the president Mheshimiwa William Ruto kwamba watu wa Mbere watapatiwa maji, na sisi watu wa Mbere Embu ya chini kama watu wa Mbere region in Embu County tuna matarajio makubwa kuona ya kwamba yale maji tumepata ndio tuweze kuona kama tuko pamoja na tuishi kwa amani kama watu wa Embu.
Governor Mbarire accused the National Irrigation Authority and Warma for failing to regulate flow of River Thiba and Nyamindi, which are the main water supplies for the residents.
Tumeshirikiana na Mheshimiwa William Ruto ambaye amekubali kwamba tutafute binu za kuhakikisha tumeweza kutumia maji ile iko kwa dams zile ziko karibu na sisi, Masinga Dam, Getaru, Kindaruma and Kiambere, tuweze kuweka hiyo maji kwa mlima juu iweze kuteremka kwa mwananchi by gravity. Na hiyo design imefanywa, engineers wamezunguka, na sasa tunangojea president mwenyewe aweze kutupatia pesa tuweze kufikishia watu wa Mbere maji.
She, however, urged the residents of Mbere to open up to the use of solar technology in pumping water from Kiambere Dam to Kiambere Hill, which will be distributed to the region. Mariam Bashir reporting for Ebrutv.
And still on the precious commodity, an acute water shortage has hit Narok town following the drying up of rivers, forcing residents to dig deep into their pockets to buy water. At the same time, the Water Resource Authority has barred farmers from obstructing water from rivers. The National Water Regulation Authority Board Chairman Isaac Cole said that water levels are in the alert stage, meaning very little water is flowing in the rivers, and once it's obstructed, it will not benefit the people living downstream. Cole spoke at the County Commissioner office after meeting with County Commissioner Isaac Masinde and Narok Water and Sewerage Company officials led by Moses Samante. Cole said that the situation is the same in the country, with 90% of rivers not flowing because of the dry spell being experienced in the country.
Wa karibu hapa Narok town umeanza kukauka, hata Siaipei pia ni kama maji yanaendelea na kupungua sana, hata Wasunyiro. So tulikuwa tumekutana hapa ikiwa ofisi ya County Commissioner na security team yake, tukiwa pamoja na Narok Water Services na pia National Water Management Authority, tukiwa tunajaribu kuona mbinu ambaye tutatumia ndio wananchi waweze kupata maji vile wamezoea kupata.
Which saizi mito yetu katika nchi yetu zote, almost 90% of our rivers across the nation are actually at that red level, where now the environmental flow of rivers is completely cut out. Rivers are not flowing, na hapo atukubali obstruction ya maji ifanyike. And that is why we want to ask our people.
Kirini, juu unaenda tribu moja unakosa. Kama leo, ule mtu ameenda ni watu wawili, na hapa iko kama punda 20. Kwa hivyo, lakini tunasiraumu serikali au nani, kwa sababu hii ni shida ya ma.
Now, despite the government's efforts to ensure inclusivity for persons with disability in Kenya, what is being experienced in reality renders the policies a practical disinformation. The Constitution stipulates that persons with disability are entitled to barrier-free and disability-friendly environment to enable them have access to buildings, roads, other social amenities, assistive devices, and other equipment to promote their mobility. However, accessibility and mobility for some people living with disability in most buildings in Kenya is only realized in paper rather than in practice. Ode Francis now reports.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Coast Association of People Living with Disabilities, Hamisa Zaja, in Kilifi explains how persons with disabilities' rights are rather exercised in the Kenyan Constitution, unlike other groups like the female gender whom the government and various organizations have practically fought to defend.
Disability is a whole ministry. kwa sababu it's not wale ambao wamezaliwa peke yake, kuna wale wanapata accidents sahizi. Should be a whole ministry. Kwa hivyo angechagulia tu advisor, mtu anamuadvise kuhusu issues to do with persons living with disability.
Kwa kweli government ama serikali yetu ya Kenya imejaribu sana, lakini bado kama policy ziko, lakini sasa implementation ndio iko chini sana hapa Kenya. Kwa sababu utakuta hata tuangalie tu kwa mahospitali ama kwa mashule, utakuta mtoto ama mzee ameenda pale, yuko na ulemavu labda asikii, na akifika pale hakuna sign interpreter. Sasa mtu anakuambia labda anaumwa na kichwa na anapoa dawa pale za homa ya matumbo. Sasa inakuwa kidogo challenge. Bado PWDs tunahitaji sana kuangaliwa, ama hiyo policy venye ilisema basi ifanywe.
Speaking in Kilifi, they decry buildings in towns like Kilifi still can't be accessed by persons with disability using wheelchairs because there are no ramps to ease accessibility.
Changamoto ambazo watu walio na uatilifu wanakumbana nazo ni nyingi tu mno, lakini tukijikita katika masuala ya tuseme huduma ama upatikanaji wa huduma, kuna mambo mengi, moja ikiwa kwamba kuna hali ya unyanyapaa ambayo ni changamoto kubwa katika jamii, ambapo mtu mwenye uatilifu anaonekana ni kama hana ile hadhi ya kibinadamu, kwa hivyo anatengwa, na kutengwa huku pia kunapelekea yeye kutopata huduma.
The Constitution states that the health program under the ministry should enable persons with disability to receive free rehabilitation and medical services in public and private-owned health institutions, but hospitals in Kenya do not give equal opportunity for medical services to persons with disabilities whom are not able to hear or talk, arguing that you will barely see a sign language interpreter and assistive devices in the facilities. Hamisa Zaja has questioned the government why it can't implement the Employment Act that advocates for at least 5% of elective and appointive positions to be held by persons with disabilities.
Ina vipenge vya kutosha kabisa kuhusishwa kwa mtu anaishi na ulemavu. Kwa mfano, katika county level, kile chama ambacho kitakuwa kimepita kina nafasi ya kuchagua walemavu wawili, mwanamke na mwanamume katika county assembly ya kila county. Kwa hivyo kama kuna formation of boards, independent institutions, serikali yenyewe kuna kipengele kinasema 5% ministerial posts zafaa ziende kwa watu wanaoishi na ulemavu. Hii yote ilikuwa imetengenezwa kwa sababu ya inclusion, ili pale pahali ambapo patakuwa mlemavu anaumia awe kuna sauti ambayo itakuwa inatoka kwa huyo mlemavu.
Sikubali Kaingu, a resident from Kajajini in Malindi County, says that he personally has never benefited from the policies created by the government to protect persons with disabilities. The Constitution under Article 54 states that the government shall take steps to the maximum of its available resources with a view to achieving the full realization of rights of persons with disabilities. However, the question remains, are these rights only right in paper but missing in action?
Lakini shida ambayo tumeipata ni kwamba kila mtu ana implement katiba vile anavyotaka. Kwa mfano, mpaka sasa tumeingia mwaka wa 15 wa devolution, term ya 3. Kwa hivyo tuna tena miaka tena 5 ya kufikia tena kwamba tuko kwenye devolution, lakini mpaka saa hizi masuala ya watu wanaishi na ulemavu hayaangaliwi. Kwa mfano tu hivi sasa mlemavu ambaye hana uwezo wa kuzungumza na kusikia aende hospitali, daktari pale hajui sign language, nurse pale hajui sign language, labda hata huyu mlemavu Ni mwanamke ambaye anataka kuzaa, ambao tumekuwa na cases nyingi sana. Nasi hawezi jinsi ya kumhandle, hata mtoto akilia yule mama hamsikii, na hakuna mtu ambaye anamsaidia, na hakutakikani watu kuwa pale kumsaidia.
Hao kubwa wote waliopita hawatambui hata kidogo. Hata dekeni kwambia wazi, kama ni chakula, kama kuomba chakula chenyewe kupata cha msaada ni vigumu. Katika ganda wodi walemavu kupata chakula cha msaada ni vigumu. Ikiwa mimi mwenyewe ndimi chamani wao na sijapata chakula cha hao wadogo wangu watapata. Kwa hivyo tunaomba kama serikali iweze kutuangalia, itusaidie sana.
For Ebrutv, Amode Francis.
And also the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA Busia County Director Mr. Rob Koech has urged Bumitiru gold miners to adhere to the stipulated laws governing mining. Speaking at a meeting with the miners, Koech noted that the miners were not following stipulated Environmental Protection and Management Acts, noting they were using chemicals without personal protective equipment. The director at the same time instructed the miners to visit the NEMA offices on Monday next week so that they can be guided on how to acquire the relevant licenses. More than 2,000 people are engaged in the activity, which is being carried out within an expansive area of more than 30 acres.
The most important area we are interested is environment protection and management. Water is being used here, but we do not know whether it is sound for human consumption. And then the effluence coming from the industrial business here. We need to protect the rivers downstream also, and livestock and human beings. We need to protect the people and their lives and their property. That thing is very important. It brings forth economic income to the local community, revenue to the county government. In violation of the Children's Act. Children are being used in this mining. They have formed one called the Bumitiru Mining Company.
As it is now, the site is not compliant. We've spoken to the proponents of the project to apply for the relevant licenses, specifically the environmental impact assessment license, so that they can be regulated. Most of the workers within the site are not protected. So there is need to provide protective care to the workers within the site. What we have agreed with the proponents of the project is that they should forthwith begin to comply with the law. Monday, come to the office so that we can guide them on how to acquire the relevant licenses.
Sanitation is another issue, as it has come from the wananchi wenyewe. They have very little access to sanitation. Also calling upon the leadership of the mining community to ensure that they provide adequate sanitary facilities so that sanitation-related diseases like cholera, diarrhea, and the rest are prevented.
Stand beyond our borders, where Ukraine's northern city of Kupiansk has been bombed daily since the end of January, when the Russian forces started a new offensive to conquer the industrial Donbas region. Kupiansk in Kharkiv region is key to Russia's desire to control the whole east of Ukraine. Now, an estimated 16,000 people are struggling to keep living in the city, with some yearning to leave.
After months of enduring Russia's year-old war in Ukraine, a woman by the name of Nina says she has given up.
We simply didn't expect anything like this.
For the past weeks, the bombing has been too constant, too hard, too close.
This person wants to be evacuated. Can you write down the details? She can't use her phone. I'm passing the phone.
Good afternoon. Can I go on Monday?
1 week before this war entered its second year, Nina decided to leave the life she had built here since 1993, when she came from a small village on the Romanian border.
The bombings never stop. I'm still alive because a power plant was close to us, which protected us. But now, I don't know anymore. It's time to go.
The Russians have been bombing Kupiansk daily for the past month, sometimes all day long. Destruction is everywhere, and many here believe the city may be doomed to a fate like Bakhmut, where Russians and Ukrainians have been fighting street by street, house by house, for months. Kupiansk is a strategic city. It is an important railway hub connecting the entire northeast of Ukraine with Russia. But bombs are only part of the problem here.
The local citizens are on the edge of a humanitarian catastrophe, have lost their jobs and have no means to live anymore.
Ivan Azonov oversees civil defense in Kupiansk. He says promises of help from the United Nations and other Western organizations have yet to arrive.
Things are becoming worse. We need the help from our Western partners to hold and don't let them to move further.
Local humanitarian aid organizations have tried to offer some relief to the Kupiansk's 16,000 residents. In this kitchen, 6,000 meals are served every day. For many, this is the only food they get.
The problem is not food. The problem is money. People have lost their jobs.
Without money, there's simply no easy way out. Many are forced to stay. Larissa Polyakova and her father, Ivan Zaika, have lived in a basement for 3 months.
There are no jobs. I'm living on my dad's pension.
Larissa once worked in a small clothing factory, but like most businesses around here, the factory closed. Her father is almost blind following a stroke and can barely sleep with the constant sound of artillery.
Ну, вообще плохо.
Состояние здоровья или же...
Нет здоровья.
И здоровье тоже. He keeps saying that to live like this, it's better to be dead.
Так жить, так лучше умереть.
Not far from there, a man ignores the sound of artillery and tries to catch a fish at this frozen river. Somehow, life goes on in Kupiansk. Jan Boesha for VOA News, Kupiansk, Ukraine.
All right, and on that note, we wrap it up for the Ebrutv Prime Time News on this Tuesday, the final day of the month of February. Thank you so much for your valued company, and a big thank you to the whole team involved in the production of tonight's broadcast. For now, it's just good night, take care, and don't give up.